mysteries. The old earth keeps exploring the unknown, keeping the wonder alive. He's bringing the flame to the legendary show. Paranormal among us, where the proof is paramount. Oh, we're talking about the ghosts and the good podcast times, investigating whispers from ancient haunted climes, from Bigfoot prints to a shadow in the hall. Amazing guests already answering the call, 'cause with Paranormal Paul, a new mystery.
Hey guys, how is everybody doing? Happy Tuesday to everybody. Well, you know what I should really would be cool is if I can start with some pyro here, have some flames coming out of that open in here. That would be kind of cool. Hope everybody's having a good start to their week. Happy Tuesday to everybody. Happy Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday. Lent starts tomorrow if you're into that kind of thing. We had a big celebration here in St. Louis on Saturday, which was also Valentine's Day. So yeah, everything is going cool. As you can tell, Natalie is not here. She is on her way to England to be part of a conference out there. I can't remember. Daniel Bennett, I believe, is has a movie premiere, Bigfoot premiere, Saturday. So she's going to be out there doing that. So I have a surprise guest for everybody. No one knows this except Neal, who is backstage. Well, and the person that's coming up. Bigfoot Fades is here. How you doing, young lady?
Good. How are you?
Oh, doing good. Thank you for filling in for us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And Natalie needed. I allowed Natalie to have the night off. I figured it's a lot to do to get out to London, and I figured that it would be easier that way than canceling her flight. And but I did give her a warning. No, I'm kidding. I'm completely kidding. So
we love Natalie.
Yeah. Gary, there goes the neighborhood. Well, I'm trying to get on there. Yeah. No, it's fine. We love having fades here. So, how are you doing? How's your week going so far?
Going pretty good. Yeah, I think we're getting some snow our way. So first snow of the whole year, actually.
Yeah, I saw your pictures on Facebook that you had some snow and had an eagle flying through the snow.
Yeah, like a hawk.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of snow up there, do you?
I don't know. It's like sometimes we don't, and then we just get 1 week in February, and that's it. So, yeah, poor Oregon.
Randy, did I call you Gary? Oh, God. I am really sorry, Gary. I did not mean to offend you that way. Sorry, Randy. Anyway, Bigfoot Fades, I'm so glad that you are here. And this show is going to be right up your alley tonight. We have Neal Ryder. He's from North Georgia. And we're going to bring him up here in just a second. But I want to remind everybody that, and I didn't put it in the chat. Thank you, Brian Bowden, right off the bat. Thank you, sir, for the $9.99.
Thank you, Brian.
The super duper chat is open, as our friend BMR would say. So thank you, Brian. Appreciate you. I was just talking about you the other day, Brian. Anyway, super chat is now open if you guys feel like you want to donate. If not, that's perfectly fine too. We love having you here. So you know what? We're going to bring our guest, Neal Ryder, out all the way from North Georgia, which isn't that far. I mean, all he had to do is walk to wherever his computer is. Anyway, Neal, how you doing, sir?
Good. How y'all doing?
Doing good. Welcome to the show.
You would never know by my accent and saying y'all where I'm from, would you? I bet they don't have that in Oregon. There isn't any y'all in Oregon, is there?
We have some. They moved here from Alabama.
All the transplants up in Oregon. We have some here in St. Louis too. I mean, we have okay. The brown liquid that is carbonized. What do you call that? Do you call it soda, soda pop, Coke?
Coke.
Okay, whether it's Pepsi or not.
No, we call it, well, used to we did, but now since some places have just Pepsi or some places have Coke, you've learned to say Pepsi or Coke, because if you don't, they'll say, oh, we only have Pepsi. Okay, I'll take Pepsi. That's fine. So you get used now, they're making you get used to saying Pepsi or Coke, but used to it was all Coke.
Yeah. What do you call it up there, Fades?
I call it soda. Soda.
Soda. Some people here call it pop. I think that's more of the north of here. I call it soda. I mean, some people just call it Coke no matter what. So, I promise, Neal, we're going to get to paranormal stuff. I don't know why that it
does not matter. When I'm on, the unusual is the usual. There's no telling where it'll go. I tell everybody who be in here where I'm at doing what's going on here. The unusual is the usual. There's nothing usual about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, para is my normal, you know?
Yep.
It's, you know, if somebody said to act normal, I wouldn't know how to do it. So.
My wife
said, how you doing, Freaky? Sorry.
My wife always says, you need to learn how to get into the box because you're so far out of it that you can't get in it. And I said, you're right. I don't know if I'd fit, so I don't care about it.
But you know what? Sometimes being outside of the box is much better than being inside the box. You know what I mean?
It could be, unless it's a lot easier than you're making it. But I usually, by the way I was trained to look at things, I don't have that problem. But she says I do sometimes.
You know, I'm not going to say anything because Fades is a wife. So, you know, I'm not going to say, you know, wives always get us in trouble. So.
Yeah, we don't need to get in trouble tonight.
It is true. It is true.
Even though
I'm on your guys' side.
As long as we still outnumber her, but there's no reason pushing it.
You know, yes, we do outnumber her, but you know what? Never mind. I don't feel like getting in trouble tonight because I know my wife's probably watching, and you know what? I'm just gonna leave it there. I love you, honey. So Neal, welcome to the show. For those of us who might not know you, this is our first time meeting. We've talked in emails back and forth. So give the audience a little bit of history on you. Where'd you come from? What are you about? Where, not exactly where you live, but you know,
right?
Yeah, give us a little bit of background.
Basically, I'll give you the short rundown. When I tell you everything of the beginning story in detail, it's 45 minutes, and you know that's too long. So I'm going to give a brief breakdown of it. When I grew up, I was in the woods all the time. I lived out in the country. I was always out there. I was out there so much, my mom had to put a bell in the front to call me to go into the house. But I learned so much about nature, how the animals work, the sounds they made, how they interacted, their characteristics and traits. And at the time, I did like cryptids. And I really thought out of all the cryptids and unusual stuff that UFOs and Bigfoot were the two things that had a chance of being real. Because there were so many eyewitnesses of Bigfoot, I always trust what the Native Americans said. And they all had a name for it. They had pictures. They wouldn't lie about it. And some of them even had the name of Bigfoot, which means, I believe, trust or something like that. So why would they do that? And in the paintings in the caves, they always had them with real animals. So why would they do that if they weren't real? So I always gave that as a 50-50 chance. Well, when we moved to North Georgia, my wife decided that she wanted to look for a retirement home. And she knew how much I loved the animals and the outdoors. I used to hunt a lot as a kid, but my dad always said, if you're not going to eat it, don't shoot it. And my wife would never eat anything, but I'd love to see them. So I still attracted them to just watch them because I just enjoyed wildlife and nature. When she started looking for this property for us to retire on, and we found this piece of property that was perfect. It had 4 or 5 bottoms coming in. It would have 5 bottoms coming in all together at our location. All of them had streams. All of them had ridges. And, but it had been abandoned for 8 to 10 years, which I didn't think anything of it. I just, looked at it, and it looked really rough coming in because everything was grown up, but the house, they had redone it. It looked good. There were all the streams on it, 2 beautiful streams, and all the others had come in on the property, and a pond that was needed to be refilled. So there was going to be a lot to do, but we went ahead and decided to get it. After I started cleaning up some stuff, I started noticing things that didn't make sense. I saw this one trail. I've got really wide shoulders, but this one trail was 1 to 2 foot wider than I was. And I could reach up and not touch anything. And all the limbs were broken off on the side. And everything on the ground had one trail in a straight line, and everything was crushed. When I grew up, I always would look and use common sense and natural reasonable deduction, try to figure out what it is. So I would take animals and throw them out. That wouldn't do it. That wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. I could not figure anything that could make that trail besides an elephant. And there's no escaped elephants in Georgia that I know about, so it couldn't be an elephant. Plus, they've got 4 legs, so it's going to leave a gap in the middle. And this is one trail in the middle. So it wasn't an elephant, but I couldn't tell what it was. Going to the other side of the stream, the banks of our stream is 8 to 12 foot deep. And they did a bulldozer to go to the other side. Of course, it was grown up for 8 to 10 years. But there were 3 logs that were side by side blocking that trail to go to the other side. Made no sense because they weren't cut with a chainsaw, they weren't cut with an axe. None of them had anything mechanical that would do it. And these were super heavy, and they were just side to side in the cut, and there was no holes on either side. It didn't come from the sides. They were just stuck there. And I'm like, why would somebody take and put these here if they're abandoning the property? Made no sense.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of other things, branches broken. So I refilled the pond, but I noticed there wasn't that many deer on it. It should have been a deer haven. We had honeysuckle, acorns everywhere. We had browse everywhere, 2 beautiful streams. There was everything deer would want. And it's been not hunted, nobody owned it for 8 to 10 years, but there were no deer on it. Didn't make any sense to me. But I decided to go ahead, refill the pond, start stocking it, and I had to cut a trail. I had to drive over stuff to cut a trail to it. I planted a bunch of fruit trees. I planted peach trees, apple trees, pear trees. There already were a couple of fig trees here. I planted blueberries and persimmon trees because I always wanted fruit when I was growing up. I always loved fruit. But the deer started eating it when they started attracting them. I used corn, mineral blocks, clover, all kinds of stuff to attract the deer, stump feeders, and they started eating on the trees. So I had to put netting around it, 6 foot high, and then I put fabric on the ground to stop the competition from the grass, and also the fruit trees got a lot of water. So anyway, we're going right along. I'm looking for deer tracks and stuff. Don't see anything except I see all this weird stuff. I see branches and trees that are broken, higher than I can reach, 8 to 10 foot up, and they're twisted. They're not broken like something fell on it. Mm-hmm. They're twisted, and they're pointing towards a big trail going into the woods. Made no sense to me. What is it that's on the property that's twisting these to making them break? There's no animal that I know that can do that. So then something happened. There was an old open-sided barn beside the pond, and it caught on fire. They used to make wood in it, and it caught on fire. I think somebody threw a cigarette butt, and it smoldered into sawdust and caught on fire. And I caught it just in time to start pushing it under this big table that they had in there. My dad used to make furniture. So there's this table and they had plywood on top where they would put stuff up there to cut it. So I had a rake and I was pushing it under that table and had my son that was with me go get another son to come over there and help me and bring buckets. I had to put one in the creek to get water and another one to run it back and forth to me because the banks were too high to go up and down. So I did that, but it looked like it was going to burn the place down. So I called the fire department. They came out and actually I had it under control by the time they got there because it didn't burn through the table. Come to find out, the table was an old pool table and the slate in it was stopping it from burning through. But they threw the legs and sideboards into the pond. It was old. It was really, really heavy. It was old oak. Threw it into the pond so the embers wouldn't reignite the sawdust. Well, when I started stocking it with minnows, I wanted to get that out of there because the minnows lay their eggs on the bottom side of sticks, and I didn't want it to lay on the side where the fire had been, and it killed them. Right. So I went in there and went to get them out, and on the burnt side there were leeches all over it, just tons of leeches. So I had to clean them off. There was one in each corner, and then one on each side. So there were 6 pieces total. I went and threw it out of the pond up on the hill where they had pushed when they made the pond, they pushed dirt out. The next thing I know, the next weekend I go down there, they're in the water again. Now some of these legs were 20 to 30 pounds. They're in the water again, in the corners and on the sides, burnt side down. Now the burnt side is the light side of the wood, so at least half the time it should have been up if you threw them in. Mm-hmm. But it's 10 foot to the hill I put it on, and it hadn't rained all week. So how are they getting back in the water? Can't find any prints. I can't find where they were drugged. Go back in again, clean the leeches off. And this time I put it up on top behind some brush. I said, okay, this ain't going to fall, or however it got down there. The next weekend, they're in there again. I'm like, what in the heck is going on? So I did it one more time, cleaned the leeches off, and this time I put it on the back side of the bank. Mm-hmm. The next weekend, they were in there again. I said, bump it. I have no idea. There were no footprints down there anywhere. And the way the streams are, it blocks people from coming in to the pond. They don't even know that the pond's here because you can't travel to it unless you're going to fight to go down the banks of a 12-foot creek, through it, and then up a 12-foot creek. They're just not going to do that. So then all of a sudden my fruit trees started making. My peach trees were first. And the peach trees were 10 to 12 foot tall. Well, the peaches were 10 to 12 foot tall, and it wasn't making that much. Told the kids and my wife, hey, the peaches are going to be ready this weekend. Be prepared. Don't plan for anything. We're going to go get them and make a peach cobbler. So the weekend came. We go out there. I saw them Friday when I was leaving. We go out there Saturday. Every peach on all 3 trees are gone. None left. They weren't on the fabric on the ground. There were no pieces like something had ate it. The netting hadn't been moved. No deer got it. Every peach was gone. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Then when the figs started getting ripe, I wanted to make some fig preserves. The figs that were ripe disappeared. I'm like, what the heck is going on? What in the world is? I kept a look on it. There's no birds getting in the fig trees. There's no squirrels getting in there. What's going on? Anyway, there was a lot of things like that that's going on that made no sense. You didn't match any animal that would do it. Mm-hmm. Nobody in the South is going to go in your backyard where you can look through your window and steal 6 or 12 peaches off of peach trees. I mean, you can buy them cheaper than you can get shot and killed. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to happen. So then after about 4 years, and every year everything was going missing, Christmas of 2019, my kids gave me a Bigfoot cutout. I put it in the backyard off the porch at the edge of the woods. 2 weeks after that.
Now, real quick, before you get into this part of the story, how far away from the house was the peach tree and the figs?
Okay, the figs are off the front yard, about 20 yards off the front.
Okay.
And then the peach trees are about 40, 50 yards off the back porch. I mean, off the back of the house. We can see it through the windows.
Okay.
The peaches and the pears and the apples.
Okay.
The apples and all are a little bit longer, about 70 yards. But so you can look right out the window and see them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the road, we live way off the road. Our driveway is to a quarter of a mile, and it curves around the woods, so you can't even see our house from the road. So, you know, nobody really, unless you look at an aerial view or knew that there was a house back there, you wouldn't even know it was back there. And we had a camera on the driveway. Nobody was coming in it to do this stuff, you know. And I knew the neighbor, he wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So then one night, real late at night, 2 weeks after after we put the cutout out there, my wife was watching a scary movie with some of the kids. I don't like scary movies, so I wasn't watching it. In the backyard to the right of the porch, she went out there to cool off. It was in January, but it was cool, but she had gotten hot. She had turned the temperature up and the fireplace on. The other kids went to sleep. She went on the back porch and something whistled to the right of her extremely loud. Our dogs in the pen in the backyard, they have a shed out there they sleep in. It's actually air conditioned and heated, but they came out and were going crazy, barking, jumping off the fence. Then it moved 30 yards, just out of sight where she couldn't see it. And then it whistled again, loud whistle, like a train whistle, but not exactly a train whistle. And then she thought it was one of the kids playing a trick on her. She said, okay, it's up. Come on inside. You're not going to trick me. Nothing happened. The dogs were getting even more anxious, barking crazier and louder. Then it went towards the dog pen. It got within 5 yards of the dog pen, whistled again. And they were going crazy. They were jumping. One of them was a pit bull. They were jumping off the fence, bouncing against the fence. And she knew it wasn't the kids in because they would have smelled the kids. They know the kids. They would have been wagging their tail and wanting to be petted. So right then she knew something was wrong. And then it went down to the creek and whistled one last time. Well, she goes and runs through the house, checks all the kids are in bed. She comes, gets me, and she says, come quick, there's something out here. Well, the only animal I'd ever heard in my childhood was a matriarchal doe whistling at a group of does that got too close to me before they caught my scent, and she whistled, they just all exploded. But no deer's going to go in the direction of any dogs like that. As soon as the dogs bark, they're going 90 degrees away from them.
Right.
So there was more stuff that didn't make any sense. 2 weeks later, 4:47 in the morning, something hit our bedroom. Has got windows on each side of the bed, one on hers and one on mine. We have a heavy picture in the middle. Something hit the brick wall so hard that the whole house shook. She never wakes up at night, but she woke up and she goes, what's that? I said, I have no idea. I woke up immediately. I saw the top of the picture come out and then go back, and then the bottom come out and go back, and then it slides sideways. So I knew whatever hit had to be hitting
massive
all the way up out of the roof.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And we just waited a few minutes and nothing happened again. So I was like, okay, well, I didn't want to bother her. She was going back to sleep. So I went to the bathroom, got my iPad. I was looking to see if there was any explosions nearby. No explosions. I knew it wasn't a jet with a sonic boom because you can always hear the afterwash and you can hear the boom. Wasn't that. It wasn't a tree hitting the house. They're too far away and there's no bad weather.
Right.
And it wasn't an earthquake because earthquake goes under your house like a wave. It doesn't hit high up on your wall. Mm-hmm. And even if an animal had to run into the wall, an animal's not going to be that high up.
How high up on the wall was it outside?
It was about 9 feet, 9 foot up.
Okay.
It was, if it had gone up any more, it would have hit the roof. As a matter of fact, it hit so hard that later we found out that from the top of her window all the way to the roof, it cracked the bricks all the way up in a straight line. And houses can settle sometimes, but when it settles, it kind of makes a stair step effect. Mm-hmm. It kind of, goes down sideways like that. This was in a straight line, which is an impact break.
Yeah.
I
when
looked for all kinds of stuff,
when a house settles, it doesn't move a picture off the wall either, would it?
No, no. And there was no other cracks anywhere in the house, so it wasn't a settling issue. It was a hit from it. So the next day, I go out there, and I'm putting all this stuff together. You know, the trail, the peaches going missing, the sticks in the pond, everything's going together. And you know, I had done a little bit of not really studying on Bigfoot, just hearing things about them. So I go out there the next morning, and all the grass was patted down. Now I couldn't see any prints in the grass, but it was all stomped down. And up on the wall, there was a round section where all the dirt and dust had been vibrated off. And it was higher up than I could reach. And I'm 6'4" and got 32-inch arms, and I couldn't reach it. That's how high up it was on the house.
Wow.
And I was like, what in the world? So I go back in, and I just said, wait a second. I thought if Bigfoot was alive, it was going to be in Oregon, California, Washington, Alaska, Canada. That was always my thought. If one was alive, that's where they would be. But I put Bigfoot in the town that I was closest to, and it came up with a Class A sighting. And even though it did not tell the locations, when it started talking about the roads that it was near, I'm like, wait a second. That has to be very close to here, because what they're describing is where I'm at. And remember, this thing had been abandoned for 8 to 10 years. And they had a siding, they had stuff thrown on their barn, they had stuff thrown on the roof, they had been growled at, they had the whole 9 yards. So anyway, I called somebody that I knew a lot about Bigfoot in North Georgia, told him everything that was going on. He asked me a ton of questions. And I said, so what do you think? He said, you have a Bigfoot. Now I was shocked, because even though I was leaning that way, I was not ready to hear it, right? Yeah. He said, you have a Bigfoot. And I said, well, how do you know that? He said, well, let me ask you some more questions. Have you had trees over your driveway? No. Have you had anything growl at you from the woods? No. Have you had anything thrown on your house? No. Have you had anything run by and hit it 3 or 4 times a night, several nights a week? No. He said, if they didn't want you there, that's what they would be doing. I said, okay, so what does this mean? He said, they're letting you know they are there and they want to coexist with you. Now that blew my mind. I mean, how can anybody know that much about them when nobody knows about them?
Right.
But later on, I know that he knows what he's talking about. So I've always been one to trust but verify. So I trusted what he said, but I was going to verify what he said. So I went to that big trail back in the back, and I said, this is one of their trails. If it's a Bigfoot, this is definitely one of its trails. So I said, how can I prove it? How can I prove that it's here? Hadn't seen a print or anything. So a big tree by it kind of was leaning back. I said, okay, I'm going to do a test. I'm going to put 2 headless snails as high up as I can reach and put red delicious apples, stick them on it, skewer them on it. Excuse me. Sure enough, go down there the next day, they're gone. Something had picked them up. They're wanting pieces on the ground where something had climbed down and chewed the outside off and ate it. They were just gone. I said, okay. So whatever it is on this trail found it and ate them. So I still need to see a print or something. So I put 2 more on. I started scraping away the leaves, raking it away, and it got down to leaves that were partially deteriorating, and they were the spongy type. If you've ever seen leaves when they get real thick, you can take the top few layers off and it gets spongy, wet and spongy. I said, okay, that's all I need to do, because if it steps here, I'll get the outline of a print and know it's here. Sure enough, I go there the next day. The apples are gone, and there it is. There's a print, 16 to 16 and a half inches long and about 8 inches wide in the leaves. I said, okay, I know that they're here. So
Is that one of the prints you sent me?
no, that's not a
Okay.
print because being that it was in the leaves, it when you take a picture, it's going to just look flat. So you wouldn't just it's sort of like grass. If they step in the
Right.
grass, because it's a flat picture and not three-dimensional, you're not going to be able to see depth perception on it.
Mhm.
So, I mean, at the time, I was just doing that to prove it to myself. So then I got the idea I need to learn as much about these creatures as I can. They let us know they were here, probably because they saw me looking at all the stuff, and I put this Bigfoot cutout out here, and they thought we're friendly to the animals. We feed the birds out there. We're putting corn and doing all this for the deer and starting to attract deer. We're putting fish in the pond. We go into feeding the fish in the pond. And so they know we're friendly to nature. My wife would go out every morning on the back porch, and I had a stump feeder to the right. She'd say, "Good morning, little deers." And they would just wag their tail and start eating again, as cute as you could ever see. And so they must have realized that we were friendly to nature and wasn't a threat, and wanted to let us know. So then I started doing a bunch of tests. And I started thinking, here's the first wild thing that happened. I started thinking, okay, well, I'm giving them apples, but I need to give them more apples, because something with a 16.5-inch foot, 2 apples is not much more than just getting their mouth to start watering. So all of a sudden, I go down there the next time. I looked around, I couldn't find anything. I go down there the next time, and on the other side of the fence, which is right next to the tree, there is a structure, 4 sticks. There's a vine that goes up, across, and then up into a tree. And there are 4 sticks stuck, leaning from different directions onto the vine where it's flat. And it made a teepee shape. It made a cup on top like a teepee. And I said, wait, I can put one here. Now, I'm not even thinking at the time that this could have been made. I thought I just missed it, you know? So I put an apple on it. The next time I go down, they got that. And I was trying to see how smart they were, believe it or not, because at the time, I think they're just a natural animal, like a bird, a deer, a hog, or anything else. So the next time I go down, and it was so perfect too. I don't know why I didn't think it. It was so perfect. The cup on top of it would hold the apple perfectly. It was designed perfectly. I go back down there, and there's another one made to the left, the same way, except it's on a tree branch off of a bush that the limbs have been stripped off of it, the exact same way as the other one. I said, wait a second. I know that wasn't there. So I start looking at them and evaluating them.
Wow.
The branches weren't even from any trees right there on some of them. Some of them weren't even from trees that are right there. They were stuck, and they were sharp on one end. They were stuck 3 to 4 inches in the ground. And then they were broken off at the top. So they stuck them in the ground, then they broke them off level at the top, and had a cup to put an apple. And then they made another one. And I was like, wait a second, I'm checking to see how smart they are. They got me, because they made this and I put it right where they wanted. So I started realizing this is not just a normal animal. You don't have normal animals like a squirrel or something going making things to put something on. So from then we started all kind of other stuff and started interacting with them. And I think one of the things you have a picture of is on a stump feeder, it's level, and it's got rings on it. It's got blue marbles on it. I think you may have that picture that you can pull up.
Hang on. I gotta find it there. Yep. That one right there?
No, that's one of the gifts they gave us from it. Actually, there's that one.
No.
Go the other one you just showed. There's another rock with that basketball by it. That's the other gift that they gave me.
Oh, this one here?
No, that's actually the marble plate we did after it.
Okay. Hang on, these are really
I kind of
small.
had them together, but they get shuffled up all the time.
Yeah. Is that it? No, that's not it. I don't know that I have that one. Or that's a print.
That's a footprint in the woods
That's
when
a
they
buck.
left. Okay, so anyway, what I did is I put blue marbles on top of a stump feeder as a gift to them. And they took the marbles and they left us 2 huge rocks as a gift right beside it on the trail. And the trail makes like a U. And me and my wife was driving. I told her the marbles were gone. She wanted to see it. She was kind of laughing at me like, you can put the marbles here, but I don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, we go down there and she's driving. She stopped and she goes, where did these boulders come from? Because one of them's like 100 pounds. And I said, I don't know where they came from. I never heard of them gifting you back rocks for it. I heard flowers, bones, feathers, all kind of other little things like that.
Hang on
So
one
I never
second.
thought that they were feathers. Yeah.
At like 10, 15 seconds ago, did anybody hear any kind of weird whisper? Because I thought I heard something right at about 36 minutes.
I didn't because I talked too loud.
I don't think I did.
Okay, I thought I heard something. Mickey did. Okay. So at 36 minutes, I'll go back and I'll check this and I'll post something later. Okay, sorry, Neal.
So anyway, I'm driving back about 2 weeks later from my mom's house. My wife's sleeping on me, and all this is infected my brain trying to figure this stuff out. And I'm like, wait a second, those 2 rocks, my wife mows. She knows that they weren't there. The banks are 8 to 12 foot deep. None of the kids are going to go in there. They don't know I even put the marbles down there. Why would how did those rocks get there? One of them's about 100 pounds. The other one's about 40 to 50 pounds. So the next morning, we got in late Sunday night. The next morning, I said, I'm going to go out there and check. So I go out there and look. Early in the morning, they're gone. They're not there. I cut across. I didn't go by the trail. I cut straight down through the yard, which I knew would make my wife mad, but I had to get to work. They were gone. I was like, what the heck? I'm driving up the trail, and the big one had been moved 60 yards up by their favorite peach tree in the grass where she had mowed it recently, sitting there. I'm like, what the heck?
Wow.
And the trail makes a U, and on the other side of the U, we made a pad for the kids to park. We brought in like 450 loads of dirt just to make a pad so the kids could park, and the trails along it. And there was the one on the one side of it and another one just like it on the other side. They had moved those rocks to make sure we knew it was a gift back in return to the marbles. So I said, if they're doing all this, I need to accept these and let them know that I accept their gift.
Yeah.
So I went and loaded them up on the side by side, took it, put it behind our porch, and that started all the interactions going. So shortly after that, I said, well, I've got to figure out how to do more interactions with them. Mm-hmm. So that place with that little smiley face on it, I made a marble plate. And we made a beautiful smiley face on it with white sand. It had some bigger things underneath it. Then they moved it to the bottom of the plate. Then we made a smiley face. They moved them to the bottom of the plate. We made a smiley face again. They moved it to the bottom of the plate. I said, this is getting nowhere. We stopped. A week and a half later, we come back, and the face that you showed up there in that glass pie plate, that was the face that they made after we went back 2 weeks later. So they were using it to interact with us.
Really?
Wow.
So I was like, wow, this is crazy. Okay. So the interactions just kept going and going and going. And it's been an amazing experience because there's been so many crazy things they did. Mm-hmm. One of the things they did with the marble plate, believe it or not, was one night they hit the back porch with a throwing rock. The whole back porch shook and the bathroom shook. They hit it so hard.
Holy
and
cow.
I slammed the door closed. Anytime I hear the dogs bark, I open it up and see if I can hear some howls or hear anything. Mm-hmm. And it hit the back porch, so I slammed the door closed. I knew what it was, but that was kind of too close, you know. And so the next time I went down to the marble plate, they had drawn with the marbles a picture of the house where it was standing and hit it. I mean, I had a picture. I didn't know if you got it or not, but I had a picture of the house where it was standing, and then a
Whoa.
picture of the marble plate where the marbles were. And then they left me a throwing rock beside it like a gift. What I found out is anytime they do something, and this has been over time, anytime they do something that they think either scares or startles me and could risk losing the relationship, they never do it again, number one. And they try to give me a gift back to appease me. So they gave me a throwing rock and did that to let me know they did it and left me a gift in return. But they've never hit the back porch after that. It's just one of the weird things they do. Then as the relationship grew, they quit hiding their footprints. I mean, I would see their footprints walking in the grass clear as day. And I'd never seen anything before like that. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. There were 4 of them here in a family group at first. There was a male. His footprint was 19 and a half inches long, 10 and a half inches wide. There was a female. Her print was 13 and a half inches long, 8 inches wide. There was a juvenile. His footprint was 9 and a half inches long and narrow, but he only had 4 toes, and they weren't damaged. There was 4 toes side to side. So, and then there was a younger one that's foot was 6 and a half inches.
Is that one of the pictures you sent?
Because
I went back and I could have swore I got all of the pictures that
I think I sent you several.
Yeah,
sets of pictures.
I found them now. Here's that one that with the smiley face. I finally found that.
That's the one we made. Yeah, that's the smiley face we made.
And then
earlier you had put another little weird looking smiley face on it, and it's the one that they made.
This one. Okay. Let me stop that. I know I had it on there, but this is so that's the one that they made right here. Okay. So they turned your smiley face into that.
Actually, that is the picture of the house where they were standing when they hit the back porch with the rock. That's the picture of the house they made.
Oh.
And I had a picture of the house where it was standing, and you can see how it looks. And you also, I think I also probably sent the picture of the throwing rock, which looks like it has fingerprints in the rock, which I don't know if that's what it is or how they could do it, but it sure looks like 2 fingerprints in the rock. But that's the picture that they made of the house to let me know that they hit the house.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't see that one.
But I mean, they've done all kind of crazy stuff like that. And, more and more, I'm learning more and more stuff about them. And then I did something that I shouldn't have done, but I was young and dumb about Bigfoot. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn everything about them. Mm-hmm. So I decided to make a gifting station. At the gifting station, because I thought they were just like a deer or any other animal, they would eat and go on, but at least I could see how they eat. Do they eat like we eat? Do they do things differently? How do they do it? And I took a 4x8 sheet of plywood, took 4x4s that were about 10 foot tall, buried them in the ground, put cement around them, made a deck on it that was perfectly level, and then put a tin roof on the top. And then I would take big plastic containers and I would take dog food and put in one. I would take different types of cereals to put in one. I would take and give them apples, peanut butter in jars, all kind of things to see how they do it. You had a picture you put up there of some plastic containers, and if you can get them back up. Okay, to stop at that one. After I started putting food up and drawing more deer, and they realized it was a safe zone, they made this place a nursery site. Now, a family group, the male would come and go, but the female was always here, and the young ones were always here. Now, a nursery site is totally different. Every year, 2 to 3 babies would be brought in, and they would have a juvenile with each one of them, and then there would be another juvenile that comes in, and the mom was in charge of the whole thing. But these prints were everywhere, but I learned that each baby had a certain juvenile escorting them. Now, that picture you had up there was when the babies were there. That was a jar of peanut butter that a young one that didn't know how to eat the peanut butter out of it, got it, went underneath the gifting station and ripped the sides down. It pulled the sides down so we could get the peanut butter out of the bottom of the jar. It's not cut with a knife. It was not, no pliers were used, nothing. They just ripped it down like a banana.
Wow.
And I want anybody to try, because I do it when I go on the expeditions. I would take a peanut butter jar. I let them look at this one so they can see that no knife was used, no scissors were used, no pliers were used, you know, so they can look at it themselves. And then I give them a jar and say, pull it down. I have yet to have one person without one guy that tried to be slick and use a knife and then pull it down.
Yeah.
I've not had anybody be able to pull it down even once. And this is a little one. This is either a juvenile or a baby, because between the deck and the ground was only 4 foot.
And there's so
right
many
underneath in the middle of it.
So many different rips in this. I
know.
All around the top and
all around the
multiples
top
down
and there.
the side.
Yeah, it's
Holy
crazy.
cow.
And if you, I had 2 pictures of it, and if you look at the other side, you'll see on the back where it was bent down, because when you bend plastic, it makes a little white area where it bends. You can actually see where they bent that part back to try to get it. Yeah, you see the back side of it, the top of it, you see the white going around it where they ripped it down to. That's where they were bending it back, trying to get it, their hand into there. So I really think it probably was a juvenile trying to get it out.
Wow.
But they just ripped it down like it was nothing.
Yeah.
That just tells you about their strength. I don't know if I gave it to you or not, but I found a peanut butter jar that was out on the trail that a baby stepped on, and it left a little baby footprint on it. That was really neat. I really enjoyed that, because here this one, and you know, I actually, in my mind, started thinking back when I was a kid. There it is right there. It stepped on it, and you can see the heel at the bottom, and you can see how it's squared at the top. But that's where it was on their trail, and it was stepped on right there. And you can see the sidelines and everything else. But what it reminded me of is when I was a little kid, I would take and step on tin cans to hear them crumble.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if it did that like I would do as a kid, just to hear the sound, you know, of stepping on something and crunching it.
I mean, it could be. I mean, it could be that their young juveniles aren't that much similar or different than we are.
Over time, I've realized with their eating habits, they're not, because the young ones would eat the sweet stuff. They would eat more of the cereals, sweet and salty granola bars, and honey graham crackers was their favorite to begin with, but now it's the Nutter Butters. They will come down trees within 20 yards of me coming to get the Nutter Butters. They even made hides on the other side of the tree so they can watch me and be the first ones to get over there and get the Nutter Butters. As a matter of fact, I've got one that I took a picture of a hide and posted it.
Yeah.
And somebody said, "Did you see the face in the hide?" No. Sure enough, they sent it back to me and circled it, and it looks like a little monkey face, and it's got a frown on its face where it looks like he was looking at me, taking a picture of it, and wasn't happy with me doing it. As a matter of fact, they never used it again after I took that picture. It's like he knows the spot, but I mean, it was right across the creek. As soon as I left, before I'd get back to the house, he would be up there eating. He wanted to make sure he got the favorite before everybody else did. And doesn't that sound just like kids?
I don't know about anybody else.
Before everybody else?
I don't know about anybody else, but it sounds like something that I do.
I imagine a little Bart Simpson, like a Bart Simpson.
Bart Simpson, yeah.
Bigfoot, like, lay your hand up my Nutter Butter.
Some of the funny stuff that they did, though, about some of their eating habits. I had a box of Lance peanut butter crackers, and it has the hole in the top. I don't know if y'all have it where y'all are, but it's got the little hole in the top so you can see the wrappers in it. They didn't open it from the end like we did. They put their hand down in the hole and just ripped it back on the side and would pull them out the side.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Then, you know how we rip the plastic open from the ends? They would take and get it from the sides and just pull it open and it would rip. I have tried it, and my fingers either slip off or, well, most times it just slips off. I can't hold it hard enough to rip, get enough pressure on it for it to rip. But they hold it on the sides and pull it and it rips. It just rips like that. That's how they would eat it. So that was strange. Also, something they do like us, in the cereal containers, and that's the pictures that you had put up earlier, in the cereal containers, but there was the dog food one you were looking at, they would take their fingers when it got down in the grooves in the bottom. Yes, that one right there. You see in this bottom corner, they would do this. When the crumbs would get in the corner, they would lick their fingers and stick down there and get it on their fingers and eat it like we do potato chips when you dump them out of the plate that are the best ones. They would stick their fingers in there, and when it would get down to the bottom like that, you'd see all these little fingertip prints in the bottom. And then you had another picture of a container where one actually tipped. Now this base is perfectly level. It tipped the whole container so that all the crumbs went in the corner, and you can see 4 fingertip prints in the corner where it looked like it licked all 4 to get as much as it could at one time. So they were doing all kind of amazing stuff. Wow. Now the peanut butter jars, the majority of them, when it was the family group, they would take the blue or red colored lid, depending on the type you got, and leave it. They would take the label off and leave it, and the jar would just disappear, not come back. Now, the only ones I ever found were on the banks above the creek. So I think by a trail going into the creek. So I think they were using those to drink with, or maybe they were catching crayfish or little fish or something, but they were using them.
Right.
After they got enough, they would just leave them there. But it was really neat because they would just disappear. But they would take all the bright colors off of it. They would take the red or blue lid and the label off of it. So then you just have the clear container with the peanut butter color, which blends in with the outdoors.
Right.
So it was some amazing stuff we were learning.
And they use it as tools. Where's my mouse?
They were using it as tools. But I've got interaction after interaction after interaction, and the more that I get, the smarter I realize they are and the things they can make and do. Did you want to just pull up just pick any picture and pull it up, and I'll tell you what's going on then?
I do have a quick question, or a couple questions. And Fades, if you have any questions, jump on in.
Please ask all the questions you want.
Have you talked to the previous owner of the house?
I tried, but he never would accept my phone call. Really? And I know he must have got out of here really quick because he abandoned it. It got repossessed by the bank, and the other people that bought it didn't pay as much for it as he owed, so he had to pay a bunch more to get it off of his credit. Okay. So I never got a chance to talk to him. He never would call me back, and when I would get in touch with him when he's there, he wouldn't take the phone call.
So it sounds to me that, I mean, he left, and this is just speculation, that if he left so quickly, something scared him off. Maybe he wasn't an animal lover like you are.
Well, I don't know about that, but I did hear that his wife went off in a straitjacket. Now, I don't know the circumstances of that. I don't know if could they possibly have been hitting the house when she was here, and only when she was here, and it scared her and drove her crazy. I don't know. Everything is speculation.
Yeah.
But I do know that me trying to contact him, I never could get in touch with him. He never returned my phone call, and when I was there, he wouldn't take it.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh, and so some other weird stuff. Have y'all ever heard that Native American tribes would leave areas of the wood where Bigfoot was and not inhabitable? That was their area. Had y'all
Huh.
ever heard that before?
I haven't. No.
No.
Okay. Well, that's what the Indians said. They had areas of the woods where the Bigfoot lived. They would not go in it because that was their hunting grounds, and the Indians had their own hunting grounds. I have never, now when I grew up, I found pottery all the time, and I found arrowheads all the time. Do you know, even in the streams where it floods, it makes a big pile of rocks? I have never found the first arrowhead at all on the property. And if I was a Native American and I wanted to hunt, this is where I would be. Because you got all these bottoms coming in here and you got all these animals going from one bottom into the other. And not the first arrowhead can I find in any of the streams. And the big boy trails that are in the woods have been broken off for a long time. Let me tell you what a big boy trail is. I don't know if this is a Georgia thing or not. It's a trail in the woods where the trees are wide enough between it that the biggest Bigfoot can run through and not get hit by a branch. What they do is they find the trail that's wide enough, and then they break all the branches off on the sides of the trail high enough that the biggest one of the group can run through it and never hit a branch. We've got 2 or 3 of them through here, and the branches have been broken off up to 15 foot high. And not only that, but they were old. A lot of them were old breaks. They weren't fresh, so they'd been done a long time ago. So that tells me that they had been moving through here or in here for a long time.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. But I thought that was amazing that out of all those rocks, I could never find an arrowhead. I mean, there's no way that I wouldn't be staying here if all the wildlife is here as a hunter. And, you know, you got to have food to eat.
Yeah. Interesting. Faye, do you have a cat?
No, but I did hear the cat.
Actually, okay, I told you that the unusual is the usual here.
Okay.
We had a wild cat that was on the property, and we had seen it the entire time that we were here, but just glances of it. I do know that it would stay in our barn that was open on each end, you know, up on one of the shelves. But after the Bigfoot let us know they were here, it came up to me one day and started doing figure eights around my legs, jumped up on my lap, and from then on, this cat has been following me around everywhere I go, laying across me, and it meows like crazy. It's a beautiful black and white cat with a little black on its nose. Yeah. But it's in the house, and it's got the loudest voice, so I heard it just meow a couple times a minute ago.
So that, debunks that one. Okay. All right, that's good.
I have a question for you.
Sure, ask away.
So you were talking about like that picture moving on the wall, and it felt like something hit your house.
Right.
During that time, was there no fruit on your tree? Do you think that there's an association with the rock hitting your house and that, and then them kind of wanting food, or what are your thoughts on that?
No, they never have done anything aggressive with me when the food runs out, because there's not food down there all the time. I put a lot of tests down there. I put like different colored things. I've got a lot of stuff down there I run tests with just to see what they'll do. Oh, it remind me about the marble plate in the square. That was amazing how they did that. But that was when they did the whistling was 2 weeks after Christmas. Well, so it had been, you know, like maybe the first week or second week of January. Hitting the house was 2 weeks after that. So it was in January. So when those two things were done was in January of 2020 is when they let us know they were here. Okay. Now, what they do when they are out of food for 2 to 3 days down there is I have a tripod black deer feeder out along our driveway that we never put anything in. It'll mysteriously get tipped over. And every time I go down there, they're out of food. They don't do anything aggressive. They don't hit the house. They don't do anything like that. They just tip the thing over just to let me know, hey, we're out of food. Hello, you know. Um,
Waiter.
yeah, exactly. I was telling you about the marble plate.
Yeah.
After we made the faces, I started making different shapes to see what they would do with it. One of the shapes I made was a square. I had 3 marbles on the top line, 3 marbles on the bottom line, and 1 on each side in the middle of the 2 outside ones to make a square. And I was like, okay, let's see what they do with it. It totally shocked me because the middle one on the top was a lighter color blue. The ones on the top on the outsides were a little bit darker, is how I picked up on it. They slid the middle one down to make a nose. They slid the 2 in the middle on the outsides and slid them out a little and slid the middle and the bottom down a little to make a smiley face out of a square in 4 moves. If somebody told me to make a smiley face out of a square, I'm moving every single one of them.
Yeah.
And everybody else asked, but they did it in 4 moves. They made a smiley face out of a square. I was like, they think different than we do. It's weird, but amazing at the same time. But that showed how they think compared to the way we think.
Wow. I have 2 questions from chat.
Okay.
We'll get the first one here. Diana Boss. What about pictures? Do you have you set up cameras, like trail cameras along your house or security cameras?
Yes, I've set up trail cameras and they avoid trail cameras. Mm-hmm. I'm 99% sure they can see the infrared spectrum, which we can't see. And I actually have a story by an older couple in North Georgia that confirmed it to me. And I'll tell you that in a minute. But I'm also convinced that they can either hear the mechanical side of cameras or they can somehow pick up on the frequency. I don't know exactly how, but I'll tell you the first one about that. We had a 35-pound bag of dog food on the back porch that had been there for a couple of weeks, and we had cameras on our back porch at that time. The batteries went dead, but I didn't know that until I was researching why that 35-pound bag of dog food disappeared. It disappeared off of it. So I went and started looking at the cameras. The cameras went dead on Friday night. I was looking for it Sunday afternoon. Now, they had known that thing was there the whole time. I really think that they took it within 24 hours, but they knew those cameras had gone dead and went and took that 35-pound bag of dog food. That's how I knew to put dog food in the gifting station. And believe it or not, they even left me gifts from it, which is another unusual, funny story. Down there at the time, we didn't have the gifting station, but we still were putting apples down the trail. Going into that trail, they left a monster poop right before you walk into the trail. Now, this trail was 3/4 as big around as a Pringles can. My foot's 13.5 inches long, and it was longer than my foot. Your toilet would have been stopped up for days.
Wow.
Not only did they do that, but remember how I told you they moved the rocks to make sure we saw it? Mm-hmm. I had a guy that would help me with things over here, and the pump kept getting stopped up in the creek because we had a pump was too high powered. It kept sucking leaves and branches and stuff on it, and it would stop it up. Mm-hmm. So I had him go over there shortly after that, and he called me up and he said, "Hey, do you have any like really big dogs or something on your property? There's 2 poops by this pump that's the biggest poops I've ever seen." And at that time, he didn't know what was here, but he knew short time after it. But he goes, I said, "No, we don't have any dogs here." Well, then he called me back as he was leaving. He said, "Hey, I don't know what's going on here, but something just left a poop in the road that I just drove on the middle where it's risen up in the road, and it's still smoking to make sure I saw it." And I just laughed and I said, I got an idea of what it is, but you're okay. So I think it
Wow.
was trying to make sure we knew that those poops were a gift, and I didn't accept them, and I've never found another poop after that. I
Boy,
guess they
that's
wanted me to accept their poop for the dog food, and I didn't do it. So
that's a crappy gift to get.
that's a crappy situation right there.
Had to do it. Sorry.
You know, you
Um,
know, no, you know what the bad thing is?
What?
That's an awful bad situation. Get it?
Yeah.
Situation.
Yeah. Nice.
Did you look in the poop to see what was in it? Because I had a guy one time tell me he found one and found like deer hair and stuff in it. I'm
I
thinking
didn't.
Jurassic Park, like the scene with the glove.
I did not. I
That's
did
a
not
big
do
pile
that.
of poop.
That was something that I was not worried about at the time, and I was not worried about getting it for DNA or anything like that. But now I'll go back to the camera part about the couple in North Georgia. There was a couple in North Georgia that had a big open field in front of their house, and their house was like sitting on top of a hill overlooking a big field. And on nights where the moon was bright, they wouldn't watch TV. They would just sit on their porch and talk, and then they would go to sleep. On the right side of the field was a stream, and on the left side were a lot of deer and acorns and different things for the deer to eat. And a lot of times they would see them walking across the field in the moonlight, and they knew they had them. Well, for one Christmas, their kids gave them a camcorder that had the infrared so they can do things at night. And they had practiced with it at their kids as how to work it, and were able to see the deer and all this stuff. They said, this will be neat to get a picture of the Bigfoot when they walk across. So they had left it on their front porch waiting for the time. All of a sudden, it was a night that the moon was out full, and they saw them start coming to walking across the field, the shadow. So they went and turned it on. They picked it up, and then as they picked it up, they went and hit the infrared. These things hit the ground flat and crawled back to the woods. Now, they were still walking when it was on, but as soon as that infrared was hit, they just hit the ground and flattened out and crawled back to the woods.
Wow.
That told me that without a doubt, they can see infrared, because when they just had it on, they were still walking across, but as soon as that infrared was hit, flat down on their belly and crawling, and see their house was above them, so they could see their back going through the sage. So
Wow.
I thought that was amazing proof that they actually can see the infrared spectrum, which we can't see.
Yeah.
And there are other animals that can do that, so they wouldn't
Yeah.
be the only animal that could do that.
Yeah. So we have this other question. I want to make sure we get to this one.
Okay.
Because this is from Brian Bowden, who, as we all know, he is a remote viewer, and he is very, very accurate. If you are on the backside of your house, is the pond on the left, and in the distance a hill into the woods with a dirt path?
Okay, so for me to get to the pond is about 3/10 of a mile away, or 3 or 4/10 of a mile away. I have to go out on our back porch, take the trail going across the creek, because they consider the other side of the creek as theirs. Take the trail going across the creek, and then go down the woods on that side another about 3/10 of a mile. So it's actually out the front of the house to the right some, but it's in the woods on the other side of the creek about 4/10 of a mile away.
Okay. But on the back of your house, is the pond on the left?
No, it's not on the back side of the house.
Oh,
It's
okay.
on the
All
front side of the house. I usually would go to the back to get the side by side where the barn is, and then I would drive across there.
Okay.
I never walk back there just because I don't like falling down in the creek and getting wet, and it's always too cold.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that either. Yeah. All right. Let's get some of the Fades. Do you have any other questions? You want to
Please ask me all you can ask me. I'll be glad to
Yeah.
answer them, because I've learned a lot of patterns about them.
You said
and then
something when you were talking about your gifting station. The way you said it was like a mistake at first. Was it?
it's a mistake, because if I would have learned all about it, I probably wouldn't have done it, because there's so
Why?
many people that have had bad things happen to them when they put stuff out and quit doing it. I have
Okay.
not had any of those bad interactions. I've been very lucky that there's a good group here that want to make everything work with us. But you never know if you're going to get a good group or a bad group. And not only that, but since we had the nursery, it got disbanded because they cut 600 acres to the north of me that was a safe zone for them, and 150 to the south of them. I still have a few here that's managing not to get, and there was neighbors that started shooting at them because all of ours is hardwoods. So they're still trying to be here in the areas that they don't shoot, but it's going to take, it was a year and a half ago that they cut everything, and it's going to take another 3.5 to 5.5 years for it to grow up enough that they can start going into those zones again, because they cut everything to the ground. They didn't plant anything back, just flat. And we've got some old farm structures over in the woods that I think they use. They also make blinds, weave stuff together to make stuff, because on one of the times the people were here, we were doing it for a documentary about them cutting everything. What are they going to do? They found one blind that had been weaved together that was in the middle of two trails where it joined in front of it, and they could reach out and grab deer or any animals that were walking on the trail. And then down from that, they said it was like a condominium. It was two huge rooms. You had to bend over to crawl in, but when you get in there, you stand up, and it's huge.
Oh, wow.
They said it was like 2 rooms, and it had limbs going across in the middle. It had fresh leaves in it, and everything was flattened down. They said it looked like a nursery. And I didn't tell them where it was, because that's an area that I didn't go. And because I don't go in the areas where I know that they are. So I didn't tell them anything about it. They found it. And I described to them where it was, and they said, yeah, that's right where it was. I said, the mom stayed on top of the ridge up there that's now been clear cut. She would stay on top of the ridge. She had something up there, and she would look down at the babies and all to make sure they were okay. She was like up there on the hill. Then there was another one in front of it as like a guard, and then they were right down there below her.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing, but they said it was amazing. It was like vines and everything, and just wound through, weaving through it. They said it was totally amazing. They'd never seen anything like it. And they put on Bigfoot expeditions all the time, and they had never seen anything like that.
Wow, interesting. So Brian commented, I'm getting a pond on the left, and then on the right in the distance there is some field and then a hill with a dirt path into the woods. And then I'm thinking back, but the house has a front and back, which is a bit similar. So,
yes, it is, except the front's got a white porch around it, and the back has just a back porch. Well, it kind of goes out and we added to it. Now there is water in the back of the house, but that's a pool he could be looking at. There's a pool behind the back of the house, so he may be thinking of the pool.
Okay, let's see what he comments back. But I mean, he's a very accurate.
He's remote viewing, I would bet.
Yeah.
Have you had any like remote viewing or telepathic type communications with them? Because you said something about the apple on that structure, but it sounded like you said you knew that they wanted you to put it there, and it got me kind of curious if you've been communicating with them somehow.
I really don't know how to answer that. I usually have to see things 9 times to say they definitely can do it. When I was asking them to show me things, I found out, okay, I will tell you this much. I found out when we were at the pond one day, when we're talking, my wife and I was talking back and forth, they understood what we were saying. I'll go ahead and tell you this story right now. It's not a story, it's an interaction. I don't know why I say that. I don't want to mislead people and say, oh, it's just a story. No, it's not. This is a true interaction. We were down by the pond, and the mom would step in and out of the pond all the time. but the ground was so hard, it really wouldn't leave an impression. I mean, it was super, super hard and compact. And I said to my wife, I said, I sure wish they would give us some better footprints so we'd take a better picture. And all of a sudden, behind one of the hills, which they don't want me to go behind, there was a branch broke. Hello to my wife, and I said, well, I guess they got the message. Just kind of kidding, right?
Mm-hmm.
During the middle of the week, when I take the trash out, is when I would take something down to the gifting station. Believe it or not, when I go down there, right beside where I park, and I can't leave any indentation on it at all, there was her footprint by the gifting station, and she had taken a marble, and this is another interaction by itself. They had taken, I asked them to do something to prove something to me, and they took the marble plate and dropped it in beside this thing. They had picked the marble up, cleaned it off, and put it in the footprint as if to say, here's your footprint.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
How did they do that? But yes, I believe they can read my thoughts. I have asked them, and that marble plate was one thing that I was testing it. I asked them to do. I said, hey, if you can read my thoughts, can you do something with a marble plate? And the gifting station has a platform, and it has a gap between it because I didn't have a solid 4x8 sheet of plywood. I had two pieces, and I left a little gap in the middle. He took it, picked it up, and dropped it in like you're dropping a coin into a slot machine, and all the marbles and the sand was underneath it and around it. And she'd reached around there, wiped the sand off of it, and put it in the middle of her print. I'm like,
wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's totally crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's very cool. Yeah.
So, yes, I believe they can read my thoughts.
And they could probably send you thoughts, telepathically or something like that.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do. And that's something I've had happen over 9 times. I actually tested that 9 times, not in a row, but during the year. I would just ask them out of the blue. I'd say, if you can read my thoughts, give me a tree knock. And all of a sudden, there'll be a tree knock after it.
Wow.
And what was really funny is after I had 9 in the row, that's all I needed to prove to me that they did it.
Mm-hmm.
So number 10 was, I was going out on a limb. I said, well, let's see. I said, if you can read my thoughts, let me win the lottery next time so I can afford to keep buying y'all food. They didn't have that much pull because I didn't win the lottery, but at least I knew what their limitations were.
That's awesome.
What was really amazing, though, when I would tell them something important, and I would in my head, I would say, this is important. Please listen. You've got a guy over there that doesn't like you. If you're going to move to the gift, they got to where they were moving to the gifting station in the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard the guy out there yell, I told you they were back. I told you they were back. He's one of the ones that shot at him. Mm-hmm. I said, if you're going to move in the daytime, go through the field over here. Don't go through the bottom. Go through the field and come over. Avoid that. And I said, if you get the message, give me a tree knock. There were 4 tree knocks around me, and the furthest one away was about 0.4 of a mile.
Wow.
How?
Yeah.
Even if you can read my thoughts, how can you read my thoughts 0.4 of a mile away? Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
That's interesting. And Brian said he confused the front and the back, but up that hill is where they retreat to. I guess there's a hill in front.
There is some woods off the front to the left, and they actually have been up there quite a bit. That's actually where the one that hit the house came out of those woods over there.
Wow. So we have about 10 minutes left, unfortunately, but we got BMR coming up at 8 o'clock, so make sure everybody goes on over there. So I want to make sure we get your books in.
Okay.
You talk about the books. So which one did you want to talk about first? I can't really see them, actually. So the only thing I could see on these pictures, on these little thumbnails, is one's green, one's orange.
Yeah. The first one that I wrote is Understanding Bigfoot, And it's like
Is that the green one?
no, that's the orange one.
Okay, there we go.
Let's see here. Oh, a guide for the outdoor enthusiast. And it basically goes through that if you're in the woods and you're camping, you're fishing, you're hiking or hunting, what you can expect that they may do if you're in the area that's different than others, what it may mean, and what you should do. In the back of that book, I've got all kind of patterns and what that are different than other animals do, and what that may mean, and what you should do.
Mm-hmm.
And there's tons of patterns in there, like upside down trees, branch breaks. Branch breaks happen all the time, but I can tell you a branch break the Bigfoot does from a branch break that's done by other things just by hearing it. And I've got ways of doing that, and I think I may have put that in the book. And then the second book is a first book of a 5-book series. It's called Bigfoot in Georgia, the Cohabitation Chronicles, when Bigfoot let us know they were here. And it's about the story that the information I was giving you on them coming here and the interactions we had at the beginning and what we learned from them with pictures. Because I try to take pictures of a lot of stuff as a proof source, and I put the pictures in the book. Now, both of these books are in hardback, paperback, and Kindle, so you can get it on all three. And that one, the one that was green, the Bigfoot in Georgia one, that's the first book of a 5-book series. They're all going to say Bigfoot in Georgia, the Cohabitation Chronicles, but it's going to get a different title. The next book is going to be The Gifting Station, which is talking about the gifting station, how we decided what to put on it, what they did with it. So you're going to see all the fingertip prints. You're going to see the one that was tipped over with the fingertip prints in the corner. You're going to see the peanut butter jar. There's tons of interactions you're going to see with pictures in every book, and what we think we learned from it.
And I just noticed in this picture on that right side, there's a little Bigfoot standing
There
over
is.
there.
There is.
That.
And if you look in the other book, in the bottom of it, if you look closely, there's a Bigfoot behind every one of them in those pictures.
Ah. So the one with the fire, there's behind the lady there.
Right.
The other ones I can see clear. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Very subtle.
I had Sibylla Irwin. I don't know if y'all know her. She's really great at doing the Bigfoot stuff. Drew them for me, which I gave her credit for it in both of the books because she does. In fact, she is actually, I've seen 4. I know 100%. I've seen a lot of the stuff in the trees and stuff, but it's very hard for me to, I'm very critical. I have to see a face or hair and know 100% it's nothing else to call it a sighting. So I got to be close and I got to know it's nothing else. And I've seen 4. My son's seen 4 and my wife's seen 2. So I'm not the only one that's seen them here. We've all seen them here, but we're not scared of them at all. To this day, I don't carry a gun on the property. I carry a shovel for a snake and a rake. And I got a walking tall stick, but it's not quite as big. So if I've got to hit a wild dog or something, I've got something there for that too. But
yeah,
I don't carry a gun in there.
And if you guys are all on the same, I mean, if they're friendly toward it and if they haven't shown any aggression to you, I mean, why bother carrying a gun? And the gun would probably only scare them.
It would keep them away from you, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and I've also got BigfootTalk.com. BigfootTalk.com is our Facebook page. And it also is a website that has tons of information if you don't want them around you, if you do want them, what you should do. It's got a bunch of patterns in it and all kind of information, BigfootTalk.com. And the Facebook page is the same thing, but just with the Facebook.
And Pam's been dropping the links in chat all night. I have all the links in the description of the show and everything. So, make sure you guys go over and check them out. Or check
and all the books are on Amazon, by the way.
Right.
So you
Amazon.
could look at them with my name, Neal Ryder, or you can look at them with the names of the books. Either way.
I think that's how I searched for them. I just typed your name in the Amazon search bar, and it came right up. So, plus a couple other different Neals, but I just ignore those.
But I've got at least 5 books worth of things that have happened here, probably more, but conservatively, I definitely have 5. So, like I said, I probably have 20 hours of interactions with them, like the ones I've been telling y'all.
Wow.
One after another after another. It's been literally crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing that they coexist with you so well. And I guess, like you said, see how you treat your animals, and, you know, they see that and they trust that, I guess.
Yeah. And
That's
one
cool.
funny thing is, never think you're too old to get put in timeout. Because if I do something they don't like, they quit leaving their footprints, and I have to figure out what I did wrong to know not to do it again. That's how they let me know that I did something wrong. They'll still be eating stuff, but you won't find a footprint. So they put me in timeout on the prints until I figure it out.
You know, I'm envisioning a T-shirt. I've been put in timeout by Bigfoot.
It would be good, but nobody would believe it.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, I believe it. Why not? Real quick, and we have about just a couple minutes here. Somebody asked GC, are their fingerprints anything like ours or a chimp?
The dermal ridges are different than ours. I don't know how it chimps in, but theirs are different than ours. I will tell you that. And their fingers are much, much bigger. Like I said, I'm 6'4", over 300 pounds, and an adult's fingerprint. Adult's finger is at least 1.5 to 2 times as wide as mine, and much longer. I actually had a handprint down at the gifting station, and it was as long or longer than my foot. My foot's 13.5 inches long.
Wow.
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 It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, Neal, I appreciate you coming on here, and we're gonna apologize that we ran out of time and didn't get to the footprints.
That's okay.
I kind of accidentally showed a couple of them, but yeah, you know, make sure, and we'll have you back on to talk about the prints and everything.
Okay.
And make sure you go to his website and get the books and see all the prints and stuff. That's fascinating. I think I know maybe one person, and this person didn't want me to mention their name, about Bigfoot's possibly living in their area. So that's
Most
pretty cool.
people don't.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I do it, because I feel like for people to learn about them, people that are around them and learn stuff from them should share it to everybody else that not as fortunate to have the same situation that I'm in.
Yeah.
You know, it's just been amazing. You go from a family group to a nursery site to them clear cutting and getting shot at and still trying to be here.
Mm-hmm.
We've been totally blessed that they're still trying to be here.
Yeah. And, you know, you said before the show that when you mentioned the nursery site, things happen, and nothing happened. You mentioned it several times, and nothing has happened so far.
Right.
So, I mean, we still have a minute to go. So
Now the babies would come in the backyard and look in the window, and they would gift us a lot of stuff. I had to stop them from looking in the window, though, because I had some relatives coming by, and they were going to sleep on the couches. So I had to stop them from coming looking in the window, because I saw one night.
Really?
And I'm like, yeah, I saw its face looking. I actually seen its face before, but I didn't call it a sighting because I had to blow up the picture to see it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a light tan, and it looked like it had been armor-alled. It was shiny, and it had short black hair around it, and it was solid black, and it was slicked back like it had been gelled to go back. And one night I fell asleep on the couch, which is a rarity for me, and I woke up and my dog was staring at the window, wasn't barking, just staring at the window. And I went and looked, and there was that face looking in the window at the TV.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And actually, that's one
awesome.
I had Sibylla Irwin draw for me. So, but it's been amazing. That's it right there.
Wow, that's freaky.
That's what it looked like.
That'll scare you in the
No
middle
way.
of the night.
That's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah. Well, Neal, we are out of time. Actually, I didn't realize that it's after 8, so I apologize, BMR.
That's okay.
Oops. But Neal, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate you coming on,
Thank
telling
you.
your stories and everything. They're fantastic, and we'll have you back on
Sounds good.
to get the footprints. And Fades, my friend, as always, thank you for being you, and I appreciate you being
Thanks.
here. You're awesome.
It's nice to meet you, Neal.
Nice to meet
Thank
you. Y'all
you
have
all.
a great night.
You too. And real
You
quick,
too.
thank you, Sir Brian, for $9.99. Thank you, BMR. He's on his own show right now for the $2. And thank you, PNW Rush, for the $3. Appreciate you all for watching. And make sure you head on over to BMR's channel right after this. And then we'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
Y'all have a great night.